fẹ́ ló lẹ́ Odùduwà. 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 Yorùbá nation ti dé o. Ó ti dé. Odùduwà. 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 Òmìnira fún tẹrú tọmọ. Odùduwà. 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 Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ. Obìnrin gbé kọ́kùnrin jẹun. Onílé gbé tẹ́lálejò. Ọmọdé gbé kágbàlagbà gbé. Ìtura bá lè dé bá wa o. Òmìnira tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà yìí. Ó máa ṣojú ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀ràn. Gbogbo Yorùbá lápapọ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ. Láti London ní Amẹ́ríkà. Canada títí dé Germany. Ọlọ́mọdé mọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá o. Kẹ́sàn wọ́pọ̀ ká gbé lárugẹ. Odùduwà. Odùduwà. Yorùbá nation ti dé o. Òmìnira fún tẹrú tọmọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ. Bàbá rẹ̀ ní lérí lẹ́ka o. Tó sọ pé kò ní ṣe é ṣe o. Ogun ọ̀run mẹ́lò wọn kò lè bámbám. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè ọba òmìnira. Gbogbo ẹni tó wà níbi ọ̀tẹ̀ àti gbogbo ẹni tó wà níbi ìyà.
Welcome to Yoruba Kingdom TV, built by passion.
Ojú tó mọ́ la fi jẹpo, ilẹ̀ tó mọ́ la fi jẹyọ̀, ojúmọ́ ò ní mọ́ kákìtàn mọ́ gbọrẹ. Ẹ kú ojúmọ́ o lọ́dọ̀ tiyín, ẹ kú ìyálẹ̀ta, ẹ kú ajálẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ tèmi, ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí. Ọ̀dẹ̀dọ̀ bí bò lójú ọjọ́ ti rí. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tí ń bẹ káàkiri àgbáńlá ayé tẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ mi lónìí, ìbànújẹ́ ayé ò ní darapọ̀ mọ́ yín. Èyí ni mo tún gbé wá o ní kọ́ńbọ́ọ̀kì. Bitter Kola leléyìí, ó lè jẹ́ bí 30 ìṣẹ́jú ni ó kàn lò pẹ̀lú wa, ṣùgbọ́n Bitter Kola eléyìí ká sojú abẹ́ ń kó kó máa jábọ́ bíi àpò ìyèré. Ẹ gbọ́, àwọn èèyàn kan kóra wọn jọ, wọ́n kóra wọn jọ. Èmi tiẹ̀ wá ní pé ká kúkú pè wọ́n ní ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n pọ́gbọ̀n, kí wọ́n pégbà, kí wọ́n pẹ́gbẹ̀rún. Ṣé wọ́n lè dárun kan tú lára ìṣòro tí ń bẹ ńlẹ̀ Nàìjíríà? Ṣé wọ́n lè ṣe é? Gbogbo wọn yìí, àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta yìí, ṣé
recruit 50 million youths into the army and take away from their recruitment source. What they will eat? Cassava, àgbàdo, corn in the morning, yam in the afternoon. It's growing here. You create demand and consumption.
Ìtí ń bà mí lẹ́rù ni wípé bí wọ́n bá ti wá dórí àga yìí, ìwé kan bẹ tí wọ́n ń pè ní 1999 Constitution. Ìní máa ń fún wọn lọ́rùn pa. Kéèyàn máa sá kiri, kó máa lọ India, kó máa lọ France, kó máa lọ káàkiri. Téèyàn wá lọ àpò ṣòkòtò, tí ń bẹnu àpò ṣòkòtò rẹ̀, kéèyàn máa wá investor káàkiri gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé kò sí ìtumọ̀ kankan, kò sí ohun tó lè ṣẹlẹ̀. Ìdí ni wípé ìlú tó lépo, tó lómi, tó nírin, ìlú tó jẹ́ pé ó ní nǹkan àlùmọ́ọ́nì, ó ní kòkó, kò sí ilẹ̀ ọlọ́ràá ń bẹ ńbẹ̀, tí wọ́n sì ń lálàsé, tí wọn ò rí tajé ṣe, tí ìbànújẹ́ gbalé gboko gbọ̀nà kankankan. Bí wọ́n ti ń pa lọ́tùn ni wọ́n ń pa lósì. Rìkrúùtù, ámì mélòó lẹ ti rìkrúùtù o, bàbá rìkrúùtà? Ṣùgbọ́n ohun tí ń bà mí jẹ́ ni wípé téèyàn kan wá sọ pé ẹ má wọ́rì, wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ni, ìjọ́ mélòó la á fi pinlẹ̀ wèrè? Nǹkan tẹ́mi mọ̀ tí mo mọ̀ sí solution lèmi ń kígbe ẹ̀. Ojú ò ní tì wá, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ darapọ̀ tàbí tí ẹ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń wọlé fún ìgbà àkọ́kọ́, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Ìṣòro Nàìjíríà ò pé méjì o, òun ni kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ á mú kúrò náà kẹ́ ẹ tó rìkrúùtù. Mò ń bọ̀.
I dare to tell this nation today that this is the problem. This constitution can never give us progress. This constitution can never give us peace. This constitution can never give us unity. And unfortunately, most of us in this National Assembly, we don't have the spine to face what we need to give this republic to have peace and progress. What do I mean? This constitution has 68 items. 68 on the exclusive list. This constitution has only 12 on the concurrent list. And those 12 are written so nebulously, so fraudulently, that you know that the intention is to even undermine those concurrent lists. That is why those who want unity and peace in Nigeria must first remember that the name of our republic is not just Nigeria. The formal name of this republic is Federal Republic of Nigeria. Unfortunately, we don't run a federalist system in Nigeria. Otherwise, what is so unique about all those things that are in the exclusive list? We used to have a parliamentary system, and then we wanted unity, we wanted peace, we wanted progress, and we therefore said we are going to go with a presidential system. Honestly, there are many presidential systems in the world that have peace and progress. I can't quarrel with that. But we must put in place the same safeguards that presidential system across the world put in place, so that you can have what it needs to run the society. In this chamber, we try to federalize the police system. In this chamber.
Ìṣòro tí ń bẹ lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà, ìṣòro ẹyọ kan yìí náà ni constitution yìí. Nígbà tí Abdulsalam gbé wá, ẹ gbọ́ lẹ́nu Sowore ńgbà gbé wá sórí program. Kì í sì ṣe Sowore nìkan ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ọ̀sán kan òru kan wọ́n ti ṣèbúra fún ẹbọra Òwu. Èyí tí ó ń bà mí nínú jẹ́, tí n bá rántí kan bàbá Ìyábọ̀, inú mi á sì bàjẹ́, nítorí pé n tó yẹ kí bàbá òun ó ṣe kò ṣe é. Ọlọ́run fún ní opportunity gẹ́gẹ́ bí ológun, ó fún ní opportunity gẹ́gẹ́ bí alágbádá, ó tún wá ń wá nǹkan míì. Third term, the same problem yìí kan náà ni Jonathan ní. Jonathan ṣẹ̀ wá bá wọn parí ẹjọ́. Bàbá Adélàjà níṣẹ̀ wá ń ṣe káàkiri, bàbá peacemaker. Àwọn èèyàn ń kú ní ìṣẹ́jú lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà. Kí sì ní ń pa wọ́n? N tá a wí náà ni o. ń tá a wí ni o, kì í ṣe pé Nàìjíríà ò lówó o, òbítíbitì owó ìní ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ Nàìjíríà o, òbítíbitì, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tí ń bẹ ńbẹ̀ kí wọ́n máa kó o jẹ kò jẹ́ kọ́kàn wọn, kò jẹ́ kí wọ́n tiẹ̀ rò ó lẹ́ẹ̀mejì pé n tá à ń ṣe yìí, àní lánàá òde yìí ìpakúpa ni wọ́n pa 40 èèyàn. Béèyàn bá débẹ̀ tó bá jorí ahun yóò bomijé lójú. Orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ó ti dojúbolẹ̀, ẹ gbọ́, èmi kọ́ mo wí bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ń bẹ nínú ìròyìn.
In Plateau State, where at least 40 persons have been reportedly killed by bandits in 2 communities of Zura Kompani and Bandalala in Bashar district of Wase local government area of Plateau State. According to accounts of some Wase residents who spoke to Channels Television, the attacks on the villages occurred on Monday night. The bandits, according to the residents, attacked the villages simultaneously, setting houses on fire, leading to pandemonium during which some of the residents were killed and some others sustained injuries. While over 30 persons were reportedly killed in Kompani, Zurak, 10 were said to have been killed in Bandalala, with several others still missing. Meanwhile, residents of the attacked communities were seen fleeing to neighboring villages to seek refuge, while some of the injured are said to be receiving treatment at various health centers. The Plateau State Command is yet to comment on the attacks. Meanwhile, the question of how best to resolve the farmer herder crisis in the country resurfaced in the upper legislative chamber today, with the senators holding polarized views on the issue. While some clamored.
Ẹ̀gbọ́n tó ṣẹlẹ̀, 40 èèyàn. Kí ìlú ó wà, kí ẹ̀mí ó sì máa ṣòfò, ẹ̀mí mà la pè é. Inú mi bàjẹ́, bó ti wù kó rẹ̀ mí tó, bitter kola ni. Ṣùgbọ́n ohun tí mo fẹ́ wá sọ ni pé, ǹjẹ́ pẹ̀lú bílù ìṣerí yìí, àwọn klẹ́ríkì, ìyẹn pásítọ̀, àáfàá àti àwọn babaláwo, àwọn ìṣẹ̀ṣe, kí ni wọ́n ń wò tí gbogbo ẹ̀ fi dojú bolẹ̀ báyìí? A jẹ́ wípé ẹ̀sìn wọ̀nyí gangan ó pẹ̀lú ohun tó fàṣòro bá orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. Ẹ̀sìn pẹ̀lú ohun tó kó ìyà jẹ Nàìjíríà. Ó sì ń gbà mí lójútì pẹ̀lú bí gbogbo nǹkan ti ń lọ yìí, tá ò sì wá wò wípé àwa tá a jẹ́ clergist, tá a jẹ́ cleric, kí ló ná wa ká tiẹ̀ ní pé òkè o, ẹ jẹ́ á pariwo jáde pé eléyìí, wàhálà yìí ti pọ̀ jù, ó ti tó. Wọ́n tún ń sọ̀rọ̀ open grace. Kí la gbogbo tá à ń wí yìí? Ìṣòro ẹyọ kan péré ló ń bẹ lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ò bá sì pa ìṣòro yìí, bá a bá pa á, yóò padà ṣekú pa orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ni. Ó rẹ̀ mí pọ̀ lálẹ́ yìí, ṣùgbọ́n bí mo tún gbọ́ pé wọ́n pa 40 èèyàn, ó bà mí nínú jẹ́, inú mi ò dùn. Mo sọ pé bí ìbá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ ìṣẹ́jú 10, èmi á tún wá pariwo tèmi sí ayé èèyàn, ẹ má jẹ́ á dákẹ́. Ẹ má jẹ́ á dákẹ́ o. Kóńkálùkù dọ́mù ìyá ẹ̀ gbé, devolution of power. Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu, ìfúnkúfún lòún fún àwọn èèyàn. Àfi ká devolve power yìí. Bí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́, ẹ̀yẹ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Iran, president Iran, ní ikú tó pa á, ṣé kò yẹ kó káwọn èèyàn wọ̀nyí lọ́gbọ́n? Ẹnìkan ń bẹ tí wọ́n ń pòkọ rẹ̀ ní Abagwigwe jọ́nà lọ́hùn-ún lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ mi ń bè ní California, lẹ́kàtà rẹ̀ ti tàkìtì. Wo bí ẹni tó jẹ́ president Iran, àwọn kan ń jó wọ́n ń yọ̀ pé ó kúkú ìyà. Israeli sọ pé àwọn kọ́ làwọn pa o. United States ní àwọn ò mọ̀ ń pa ẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ikú yẹn ṣe ikú lásán ló pa Raisi, kì í ṣe ikú lásán. ihun tó yẹ kí àwọn èèyàn wọ̀nyí kí wọ́n máa bẹ̀rù, àwọn tó ń pera wọn lólóṣèlú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, ǹjẹ́ ihun tí ó ń bọ̀ yìí ṣágbára yín á gbé e? Torí ikú ń dẹ dẹ̀dẹ̀, dẹ̀dẹ̀ ń dẹkú lọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà. Ẹ̀yin olóṣèlú Nàìjíríà, bóyá ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ ń bẹ ńbẹ̀, àbábúrò rẹ, àbọ̀rẹ́ rẹ, àbíwọ gan o jọ́mọ fún wọn, ẹ bá wa ṣèkìlọ̀ fún wọn, nítorí pé ikú ń bọ̀, wàhálà ń bọ̀, lásìgbò ń bọ̀. Mo rí Doyin Òkúpè lónìí, n ò fi yọ̀ ọ́, nínú interview òun náà ti ní káńsà, ń bá káńsà fínran lọ́wọ́, káńsà ń bá ń fínran lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Kí ló dé? Kí ní ń bẹ ńbẹ̀? Kí ní ń ṣe yín? Kí ní ń jó yín lọ́wọ́ tẹ́ ẹ̀ fi jólẹ̀? Ẹ̀ẹ̀dẹ̀ gbé ṣánlẹ̀, ẹ̀yin olóṣèlú. Ìyà ti pọ̀ jù, wàhálà pọ̀ lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, lásìgbò lọ́tùn-ún, ikú lósì, oríṣiríṣi nǹkan ìní ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Bá a sì ti ń wo eléyìí, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu, ṣé ẹ rántí, ṣé ẹ gbàgbé itú tí Bọ́lá ń pa, lára itú tó pa ní nǹkan bí ọ̀sẹ̀ mélòó sẹ́yìn leléyìí, ẹ gbà kẹ́ ẹ tú wò.
Our next story is from Africa, from its biggest economy, Nigeria. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu is under fire again, this time over allegations of nepotism. He recently announced a shake-up in Nigeria's Federal Housing Authority. And he's appointed this man as the new MD/CEO, Oyetunde Ojo. He's a former Nigerian MP. He served from 2011 to 2015, but he failed to get re-elected in the 2015 election. After that, he turned to business, reportedly in the oil and gas sector. And now he's the CEO of a housing authority. What's his qualification? Apparently, over a decade's worth of experience in the housing and hospitality industries. That's what the Nigerian government said while appointing him. But exactly when did this happen? When did he get the time to acquire this decade's worth of housing experience? It remains a mystery. But the Nigerian government insists that he is the best man for the job. Of course, they need to hype up his credentials to deflect from his other big achievement. And what's that? Being married to Fola Shade Tinubu, the oldest daughter of President Bola Tinubu. Nepotism is never good for optics after all, and the last thing Tinubu needs is another scandal. The Nigerian president has been racking up controversies ever since he took office. The last one was about an oil field, an offshore oil block called OPL 245. It was a disputed field bought by European oil giants Eni and Shell. There were corruption allegations. Nigeria had sued the oil companies. The case was pending in international tribunals, but last month, the president of Nigeria restored the fields to the Europeans. He ended all legal disputes over the offshore field and called for the matter to be resolved amicably. Now you can choose to look at this as Tinubu moving forward, as him dropping a long dispute and getting back to business. Or you may wonder about the timing. Eni, one of the European oil firms involved here, signed another deal recently. This happened a few months ago. They sold their Nigerian onshore assets to a local firm, a firm called Onado PLC. The sale was very beneficial for the Nigerian oil company. Its total oil reserves doubled after it bought Eni's assets. And guess who is the chief executive of the Onado group? A man called Adewale Tinubu, or Wale as he's popularly known. The last name is not a coincidence. He is related to the Nigerian president too. He's the president's nephew. So European...
Mẹ́wàá, Tinubu ọgọ́rùn-ún, Òbí, Àtíkù, olè ni wọ́n lọ máa jà ń bẹ̀. Òǹkàkú débẹ̀ tó ń bu tiẹ̀ ni, torí pé àwọn wọ̀nyí mọ̀ pé Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe kan náà. Kó tó dojúbolẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ n kó tèmi, kó tó dàrú, ẹ jẹ́ n kó tèmi, ní tí wọ́n lọ ṣe ń bẹ̀ nù. Ìwọ tí ń bá lọ wọ́n lọ jàpó tí tẹ̀ ń bá wọn ṣe gérégèré kiri, ojú ò tiẹ̀ gbà ọ́ tì. Ẹnìkan fọmọ tiẹ̀, nígbà tí Buhari ń bẹ́ńbẹ̀ tí wọ́n fàrọ̀ ẹjọ́ yẹn náà lọ́hùn-ún, wọ́n ní ó ní àṣẹ tí ń bẹ lẹ́nu pírẹ́sídẹ̀ǹtì Nàìjíríà kò lè fàṣẹ ọ̀hún kó pàṣẹ pé ó yá, ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo nǹkan ó dẹ̀rọ̀. Tẹ bá rí òbítíbitì ìyà tí ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn ńlé, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti lè jà fúnra yín, a jẹ́ pé ó tèyí bá yín nù o nítorí àwíjàre kí tó tán lẹ́nu èmi wí tèmi nítorí wípé bítà ni o.
Azeez Hussein olú ti sú wa eku òkè bí eku mọ́ ẹyẹ òkè bí ẹyẹ mọ́ gàrí là ń mu sá èmi àtàwọn abí mi àlè jẹ ráìsì mọ́ ẹ̀wà náà ti wọ́n gàrí ọ̀gá ti di 1-2 ó ti sú mi orílẹ̀-èdè ti sú mi báyìí kọ́ ni wọ́n bá tẹ́lẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ní ọ̀la yìí ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ ni wọ́n ká o ẹ̀kọ́ Awólọ́wọ̀ wọn ká àlè rán mọ́ sùkúù mọ́ ayé yín ò dáa ó ti sú wa o wọ́n bá wá nǹkan sí i àti forítì ẹ rí i pé orí mi gan ti pa ó ti sú wa o ó ti sú wa o orílẹ̀-èdè wọn bá wá nǹkan ṣe sí o ráìsì ti di gàrí ti 1-2 mo tún gbọ́ pé ráìsì ti di 80,000 àpò wọ́n bá wá nǹkan ṣe sí i tá a bá tún wá bẹ́ẹ̀ rẹ̀ pọ̀ báyìí po 580 680 700 là ń rà kí ló dé kí la ṣe àwa akórópè gbogbo ẹ̀pọ̀n ní òmò gbóná lálẹ́ tá a mọ̀ fọmi wẹ́ẹ̀tì ẹ̀ pẹ́pẹ́ kan ò mọ̀ lànà àní rí kankan epo náà ní ń gbà lọ owó skul bíìsì àmọ́ mi ò rí san báyìí ayé mi ò dá o.
ó jẹrẹ kì í ṣàwàdà ó mà ṣe o orílẹ̀-èdè tó jẹ́ pé ó ń kún fún wàrà àti fún ọyìn ẹ wá sọ ọ́ dìdàkudà ẹ̀yin olóṣèlú yìí káì ó mà ṣe o ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ ti já mọ́ yín dí báyìí oníkálukú débẹ̀ ó ń ṣe bó ti wù ú ẹ jẹ́ kóníkálukú padà lọ sí region ẹ̀ kán lọ máa develop ara wọn èyí tẹ́ ẹ jẹ èyí tó jẹ́ mú díẹ̀ sí ní ń polè jẹ́ mú díẹ̀ sí Tinubu ìwọ pẹ̀lú ìyàwó rẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀ lówó ju Nàìjíríà lọ kílẹ̀ tó ń wá gbogbo ohun tó lọ sẹ́tù ní president tètè sẹ́tù ẹ̀yìn tó fẹ́ kókó gbogbo ohun tó ti jí búlọ́fà fagilé gbogbo ẹ̀ kẹ́ẹ̀jọ́ kọ́níkálùkù padà síbi tó ti wá kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ má fi jújù bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sẹ́ni tó lè tún Nàìjíríà ṣe àtòbí o àtàtìkù àti gbogbo wọn gbájú ẹ̀ ẹ gbàgbé bóyá ṣẹlẹ̀ òótọ́ nìyẹn nítorí pé a ti kò giri báyìí òun ni bàbá yìí ń sọ òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ sì ni ká má sọ òun.
To the fringes, talking about and believing and espousing the belief that Nigeria truly should be one.
We need to begin by resolving a conceptual crisis. What do I mean by a conceptual crisis? Quite often when we speak about Nigeria, we collapse the distinction between country, state, and nation. We tend to think that the three mean the same. We tend to think the three are synonyms. A country is a territory. From the Latin contra terra, the land that lies ahead of you. A country is a territory. It is not necessarily a nation. A nation is an association of peoples. And I use that word in the plural deliberately because of diversity. A nation is an association of peoples who identify their shared core values. And on the basis of their shared core values, they give themselves a constitution which will now establish institutions that make up the state. What we have in Nigeria and in most African countries is a confusion where we think the nation is the state. The nation is reduced to the state. We have a country quite all right by the fact that we live within a territory, even if that territory is not secure, as we all know. But we don't have a nation. We have institutions that make up the state. We collapse the nation into the state. If you look at our constitution, section 2 of the current constitution, and you don't find this in the 1963 constitution, it ascribes sovereignty not to the people but to the state. That is dangerous. That means the state has the last say on any question. That means the state is more powerful than the citizen. That is a recipe for impunity. Because as we all know, the state is the head of state, or the governor, or whoever represents them. Whatever they say, we all have to comply, whether they're right or wrong. So we don't have a democracy in the true sense of the word.
Oh my God.
And until we have that, until we build a nation, we can't even talk of unfinished greatness. And I have to make a critique of the title of Governor Fayeme's book. It presupposes that there is a project that is unfinished. I am saying we have not even started the project.
Oh my God.
And we need to stop deluding ourselves. What are our shared core values? What are the things that bring us together, apart from the super egos? You know, when I had this experience, 2013, I was visiting a place called Du in Plateau State. The Plateau State governor is here. I got to Du the Friday before the Nations Cup final between Nigeria and Burkina Faso. And there was tension everywhere. But on Sunday night, when Nigeria won the game, the final match, the tension dissipated. And most people forget the fact that a young man from southeastern Nigeria received the ball from a young man from Pankshin who had to leave Nigeria because his parents were killed. Victor Moses passed the ball to Sondemba. Sondemba scored the goal. And we didn't even ask about the local government of origin of the scorer of the goal. So what are our shared core values? If you ask the Americans, they talk of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We don't have one. And it is when we begin to identify our shared core values that we begin to build a nation. What we have right now is a state held together at gunpoint. And when the state begins to oppress the citizen, there'll be cries of marginalization, there'll be secessionist and separatist agitation, there'll be insecurity. Now we have set up Nigeria to be a place where the state is more powerful than the citizen, and the state is oppressive. We need to retrace our steps. Quite often, Nigerians ask, which is the way forward? And I say, if you are moving in the wrong direction, you shouldn't be going forward. You should make a U-turn.